Hello and a warm welcome. In this video, I'll be talking about designer shoes and in particular the variables you need to consider in order to make the best possible purchase for yourself. And I'll also be highlighting the top brands in terms of quality, fit and longevity, provided of course the shoes are appropriately taken care of. YouTube has an abundance of videos talking about designer shoes. So whether it's the best, worst purchases of the year, the most comfortable heels, or someone talking about their designer shoe collection, there's just so much choice out there. But I wanted to come in with a slightly different angle and get my viewers to consider different variables when it comes to choosing shoes and in turn buying the best in terms of fit and also the quality of the shoe. About 10 years ago, or a little over 10 years ago, I remember seeing a picture of Cheryl Cole, this particular picture. And I knew about the shoes she was wearing, the Pegals from Christian Louboutin. And they had started to make waves in the market. People were talking about them. You saw them out and about on the red carpet and so forth. And they didn't really appeal to me. They were just another pair of Christian Louboutin shoes. And then when I saw this picture, something clicked in me. Cheryl is roughly the same height, with similar petite physique, but the way the shoes lengthened her legs, the toe cleavage, and the way when her body was elevated, it just subtly accentuated her calf muscle and it looked very alluring, very sexy. And I just thought, oh my goodness. And I became a dog with a bone. I became like a dog with a bone. And I wanted these shoes. They were suddenly on my radar and I had to have them. And because you size down when it comes to patent leather, being a size 35, I had to wait for a 34.5 to become available. And I waited for months. I waited a good possibly 8-9 months. And eventually when I got them, I remember getting the shoes and just feeling this excitement. And the first time I wore them, I loved the way I looked, the way it elevated and brought together my whole outfit. But in equal measure, they were the most incredibly uncomfortable shoes I've ever worn. But the look that I achieved and how I felt when I wore them far outweighed the discomfort, even though I felt every time I wore them that I could potentially sprain my ankle. They were that bad. The angle at which my foot was contorted was just so unnatural. But what that incident taught me is I had to become wise. I had to become smarter about making my purchases. What should I consider? It's not enough to say, I like the look of it and I'm willing to forgo my comfort. I had to find a way of striking the balance with both those variables. And then at that time when I bought these shoes, a little over 10 years ago, designer shoes were coming in at about $300, $350 entry price. And I thought it was steep, it was expensive, but I could understand why you were spending more the more I invested in shoes. But I had a limit of about 500. Fast forward to now, the same shoes, entry level is around 500 to 600 pounds. And that's a lot of money for anyone to spend. I have become incredibly discerning in my taste and my choices as well. So for me to purchase a pair of shoes, they pretty much have to tick every single box. And then coupled with the fact that I source shoes for a lot of clients, both men and women. And the first question that I find, not even the first, the only question women ask me is, are they comfortable and which are the best brands to buy? My clients are coming in on the premise that they don't want to keep buying shoes year after year. They want a pair of shoes that are comfortable and they'll keep wearing time and time again. And my margin for error is very low. So when a client asks for a recommendation, I pretty much need to hit the ground running in terms of giving them a recommendation that works so they come back for repeat business or recommend me. So I need to be on top of what's happening. And so over the years, I've really gone into detail as to what am I spending when it comes to shoes? What makes a pair of shoes comfortable or not comfortable? What extends the longevity? And then going back to what I mentioned before, there are a lot of videos talking about comfort. Comfort is a relative term. What I find comfortable is different to what you may find comfortable. But the most important thing, and what I ask clients when they ask me for recommendations, is what type of feet do you have? The feet you have determine whether or not you can wear heels and the type of heels you can wear. And then after that, you can then look at the best quality for the type of feet you have. So for example, do you have narrow or wide feet? Do you have fallen or flat arches or high arches? High arches, for example, typically thrive from heels, but it depends on the type of heel, because the arch is not in contact with the ground. It's just the ball and the heels of the foot. The balance, the natural balance of the foot is naturally out of kilter. So a heel would give them that support, but a heel like a cork wedge or rubberized heels would work because they help with the natural absorption they're not getting from not having the arch touching the ground. Or possibly a stiletto heel, but something not more than 4 inches, for example, because the foot tends to tilt inwards because they have the high arch and so are more prone to injury, versus somebody with fallen arches who would need a closed supportive shoe and a heel, something low, possibly a kitten heel, or if they want something a little higher, it would have to be something wider. So once you know the type of foot you have, then you can appropriately adorn it with the right right shoes, and also the right brand, knowing where the quality is. Ease of understanding, and so we're all on the same page when it comes to my selection criteria. What I've considered when I'm recommending my brands is, firstly, the quality of the fabric. It has to be top grade leather, suede, or the patent has to not overstretch, so it's very good, robust patent. The construction of it, you do not see any of the glue work. There are no holes, there are no gaps. It's flawless the whole way around the shoe. The aesthetic, the look of it has to be beautiful. And finally, the comfort. It's a very well balanced shoe. In no particular order, I'm going to kick off with Gianvito Rossi. Gianvito is the son of Sergio Rossi, so he comes from very good pedigree. Sergio Rossi literally stormed the fashion scene in the last 5 years, and it was with this shoe, the Plexi. And it's a shoe with the plastic and then the patent. It started off with the patent at the front and the back, but they've since done it in suede and leather and so forth. But this shoe it's incredibly comfortable, very well balanced, and it's the first shoe that I've ever bought 2 colors in the same style, and that's a testament to the comfort of it and the look and the compliments I would get for it. It's also a shoe that I have shipped out the most to Asia and to African clients. Last count, I was sitting on 24 pairs of shoes, and I have never got any complaints. And people come for their first color and then request a second color. Great shoe, very comfortable, and I would highly recommend. Of all my recommendations, this is actually the most comfortable of all the shoes. And then moving on to an Italian brand that has exploded in the last 3 years. It's been around for a lot longer, but it's suddenly come to prominence as people start to see it more and more. It's a very comfortable shoe. As I said, it's under the radar, but the comfort, the construction of it is very good. It goes without saying, hence my selection. But the one thing I really want to highlight on this shoe is the soles. The soles are incredibly, there are 2 things. The soles are incredibly robust. When you walk on gravel or any uneven ground, it is very comfortable. You don't really feel it. It buffers it very well. And also fairly waterproof, very well insulated. So when you're walking on water or anything happens, none of the water seeps through. And the other thing that I really like about this shoe is the way it's very well cushioned. Because you are elevated and all the pressure's coming down onto the balls of your feet, this is where you need the cushioning. It's crucial brands get it right in this bit. And although this looks very thin, when you do feel it in the right places, it's very well cushioned. And they've done it very well in a way that's discreet, and it doesn't make the shoe look bulky. Overall, very comfortable. Yes, these are stilettos, but they're well balanced. And I walk very confidently in these. And when I bought these, it was the first time I'd actually experienced that comfort that, oh wow, a stiletto can be quite robust. And then before moving on to the second, or rather my third recommendation, I would like to thank Neatsmith. I have filmed today's video in their showroom, which is in Chelsea on King's Road, number 544. Neatsmith create and install luxury bespoke wardrobes, and they've been incredibly gracious and generous in letting me film here. Thank you. My third recommendation, I am a bit torn because their bags and their shoes are very different, and the feedback is also very different. Bags, I tend to get a lot of issues with them, returns, things come up, and I'm just not a big fan of their bags to recommend to other people. But I am a personal fan of Miu Miu, and I have a lot of Miu Miu handbags. But the thing about Miu Miu and Prada is it can't be your main bag. It has to be one of several. You're not using it a lot because then it wears down very quickly. Something that it's a sticking point, but the bags are a tricky one for me. But their shoes totally redeem the brand in terms of I get such good reviews. The shoes are comfortable. The shoes are well made. And the particular style that I would really like to highlight today is these. This is a style that you will see a lot of brands doing. And it took me a long time to invest in these shoes. They're shoes that I'd wanted for a very long time, but I wanted to find the right brand, something that was very comfortable. It has a very thin heel, but my goodness, they've got the balance right. It's not flimsy in any way. It's very comfortable and also very soft. The leather they've used is very soft. So when I'm wearing it, it feels very soft, very comfortable. And like the Aquazzura, the cushioning is very well padded, and it's amazing, and it's just where you need it. It's a fairly high shoe, but the elevation is quite gradual and not as tight, so it's not uncomfortable, and I can pretty much get away with wearing this at an event for a few hours, standing up, sitting down. It's not, for example, like a Louboutin shoe where I can't stand for more than 15-20 minutes with the Pagals, for example. But this is a shoe that I am one of my best purchases, and I would highly recommend, particularly for this style, if it's something you'd like to invest in. My fourth recommendation for this particular video, and I've literally saved this brand for last because I wanted to give credit where it was due. They are Manolo Blahniks, and Mr. Blahnik, he is a craftsman extraordinaire. I have to give credit where credit is due. Of all the designer brands, his shoes are head and shoulders above the competitors in terms of the craftsmanship. The attention to detail, the work and effort he puts into the shoes is second to none. These shoes are actually 11 years old. The leather is very soft. It's in no way tarnished. It feels great. It looks great. But the thing I really would like you to pay attention to is this extra cushioning. As you know, with heels, cushioning is very important for the balls of the feet, where the pressure goes when your foot is elevated. And what he's done is very skillfully inserted this little pad, and it's stitched to the bottom. And if you look at the shoe from the side, you can ever so slightly see it, but it doesn't affect the look of the shoe when you put it on, but it just adds to the comfort, the padding that you need. And it's just a testament to his craftsmanship, the things he thinks about and how he does it. They are phenomenal shoes. They come in starting prices around £500. Of all the shoes I've shown you, they all start at 500, so around 500 and above. So Prada, the Manolo Blahnik, and the Gianvito Rossi. The only one that's under 500 is the Aquazzura, but that's in no way compromising on the quality. It's just that's their price point. But the other thing that I really like, and I forgot to mention, is with Prada, any resoling is done free of charge. So that's a big plus with the brand. The other brands, you would pay for that. But what I recommend with all designer shoes is to extend the longevity of the shoe, is to put rubber soles at the bottom. That really helps maintain the shoe. And you pretty much, can get away with keeping that shoe for the rest of your life, unless you decide to sell it on and get something else. But I have another 3, possibly 4 brands I'd also like to talk to you about, and I'll save that for a second video. Do let me know if there's any brand that you have, your experience with it, what you liked or didn't like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll be back in touch with the second part. Thank you for watching, and take care.